turn there. Some are really struggling, trying to figure out what's the best way to lock into that area. How should I approach that? What visual cues and things do I have to look at if I'm a chase driver or if I'm a lead driver to be able to navigate that course in that section appropriately?
All right, here we go. Our first official battle here of round 7 of the Type S title fight. And we are ready to send it here with Justin Pawlak and Jonathan Castro. And here we go. So Castro will be chasing down JTP in that Falcon Tires Ford Mustang. Nice, good initiation there from JTP high on the wall. You can see throwing up that Falcon Tire rubber. Jonathan Castro dropping down, staying about mid-angle or mid-line on the bank. Whoa! Some lunging back and forth. That looks a little odd on that transition there from both JTP and Castro. I'm going to have to look at that again. Don't know if JTP threw Castro off both tight around that front clip. A little bit of checking up there. Now keep in mind of the Excel map and the decel map. There are areas that you're quote-unquote allowed to decel within reason. You're not going to come to a halt, obviously. I like what Ryan Lantain said earlier in the driver's meeting. He says, look, you got to think about road racing. You're not slowing down. You want to carry that speed and carry that momentum through the turn.
Well, you know, one of the biggest challenges of this course is the first big bank because it takes up the entirety of that big bank. Now, Justin Pawlak put out a good lead run from the onset. He was able to stay up high. We saw that Castro went a little bit lower. There, Justin Pawlak really kind of slowed down a little bit after inside clip 1, and that kind of pushed Castro off to have to also make a mistake of his own. Now, the judges really do want to see momentum through inside clip 1 and then slowing down in the decel area, approaching outside zone number 2. So I think that's going to be a little bit of a mistake on Pawlak, even though he did have nice high proximity on the bank. See that big angle there? He really slowed up. Now, Castro made that mistake in the chase. Now, that could almost be looked at as an incomplete, but I feel that the judges are going to make an allotment for Castro because he was in proximity and Pawlak really was slowing in an area that he shouldn't have.
Yeah, like you said, that transition, the momentum. Speaking of our judges, I want to thank our judges, Chris Ewell, we got Brian Egger, and Ryan Lantain, our 3 judges up in the box. So now let's alternate the order here with Castro leading, Pawlak giving chase. Run 2 of our top 32 battle. If you're watching, be sure to hashtag FDIRW and let everybody know you're watching live. Again, we've switched up the order. This is Pro. Pro 2 is Saturday, and then our final round of the title fight Sunday evening. Here we go. Castro initiates. Looks like Pawlak is going to give himself a little bit of distance, a little bit of buffer, and Castro mid to high on the line, could be a little bit higher. We saw Pawlak very high on the bank, almost touching the wall. Castro keeping it safe, coming to that second outside zone, filling all of it. You see Justin Pawlak gain the proximity. Massive angle there from Castro, gets all the way out, and Pawlak keeping composure now, transition into that, buddy, in the outside zone. Ryan a little bit of, you can see, so Ryan pointed out there on the replay, where are the rear ends of the vehicles, where are the rear tires supposed to be? Because that's what you talked about. Just cones, just the edge of the course. Where are they supposed to be at?
The judges want to see in outside zone 3, the drivers get their tire to the edge of that white line there, and the cones are there as kind of a perimeter marker, so they really don't want the bumpers slapping the cones very heavily. You can see as we get this run started here, we come down, or excuse me, about halfway through. You can see Castro's doing a pretty good job on the inner bank. Pawlak is in close proximity. He makes a slight adjustment right there in having some trouble transitioning into outside zone 3. Here it is again from inside clip. This transition right here, he's going to get a little bit wonky right there and kind of have to adjust. Now Castro is right at the edge there. He doesn't hit any of the cones, so he looks like he's well within bounds there for not being off course. But we did see, you know, quite a few mistakes from both drivers here. Noticeably, Justin Pawlak in the lead, big slowdown on inside clip 1. But Castro really didn't get a really good chase up until that point. You can see that Castro was midline on the bank, really didn't get all the way deep into that first outside zone, which is critical. He does better on the second here. Now, as we get to the second inside clip, this is where Pawlak is going to surge forward, has a little bit of a slight adjustment there in the chase position, and gets super close there towards the end.
Yeah, I mean that's the kind of litmus test right there. That is the truth serum camera overhead, and I'm gonna get in with Ryan Lantain here once he puts in his score. I want to elaborate because you said so they don't want them hitting the cones. If you've hit the cones, you've gone too far. The white line is the edge of the course, right? I mean, you want to stay within that drift, you know, that outside zone box.
Yeah.
And it seemed that Castro that back left did exceed the edge of the course.
They would like you to see, or they'd like to see the rear tires on the edge of the line no further, but if the bumper, because the bumpers are longer for certain vehicles, they really just don't want those cones being hit, and that can be taken into consideration. Now we've got Ryan Lontaine coming on mic on comms here. Ryan, are you in? Can you hear us here? I don't know if we've got him live just yet, but we'll get Ryan on to talk about a little bit more specifics on the judging. But here's the side-by-side that we're so used to seeing. So Ryan, tell us what you're looking at here.
Well, in the first place, I'm looking at what JTP did in the lead position. You were in the driver briefing. You heard me specifically say no handbrake, no left foot brake, no braking, nothing at inside clipped 1. And he definitely had a lift and a handbrake pull in the lead position. Justin Pawlak did. So that's not what we wanted to see in the lead. And you could see that it seriously affected what Castro was doing because he was in proximity at that point, and it threw him off considerably. You could see Castro had to check up so that he didn't make contact with Justin. And in the lead position, when Castro was leading, he did a pretty clean run. Maybe it wasn't as good as Justin's, minus that handbrake pull right there. But Justin also made some corrections in his chase run. So from my perspective, I think the other judges have their results in. It was just sloppy from both sides. And I went with it one more time based on that. And you can see that.
One more time. So did Brian.
Brian went one more time, and Yule went with Castro.
Right. That's right. So 35 pounds of boost, just shy of 1,000 horsepower. Here we go. And of course, Yoshihara tried and true. That turn 14 turbocharged LS Super BRZ. Good initiation there from Yoshihara. Oh, Farook goes hard in the wall. Farook slams the SGK S14. Yoshihara still has to continue through the entirety of the course in order to advance. A terrible turn of events there for Farouk Kawai and his S14 effort from the Bay Area. Originally from Poland, and unfortunately, there you have it. Yoshihara, he continues the rest of the course, but not the way you want to win, Ryan. Yeah, that's a tough break right there for Farouk. You know, the first run out in the chase position here against a champion in Daijiro Yoshihara, and it looks like he sustained a lot of damage going into the wall. We've seen this historically over time. It is not a good sign when you go in at that rate of speed. And let's take a look and see if we can see what happens. Oh, you know what? He was really angling up there, and the back bumper got into the bank, sucked him right up. And that's pretty standard, pretty par for the course. It is so hard to come out of that. Once you're up in that section of the course, the back bumper hits it. It wants to suck the front end into the wall, and that is exactly what happened to Farouk. Yeah, we're talking momentum going through that first inside clip, but the momentum will just suck you up in that wall, and it'll just whip you right in. So unfortunately, Farouk Kawai, we'll see if he's able to fix his vehicle. I know he's he's definitely a passionate fella and excited to be.
Couple feet off the wall. It's just those next couple inches, and there's a ton of rubber like 3 feet down that keeps the car locked down, and it's just a matter of getting up over that and staying over it, and that makes a spectacular run versus just a good run. So that's obviously what we're here to try to do, and yeah, I'm feeling pumped, ready to take on the rest of the night.
Okay, Vaughn, thank you so much. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Lorette. Good luck to you. Vaughn getting junior with that bye run makes quick work of 32. Let's move on to our next battle, revisiting the one more time between Justin Pawlak, JTP, and Jonathan Castro on the line. Are they going to clean it up? Remember, Lontaine said, hey, no handbrake, no left foot brake, no slowing down past that front clip. He did do that. Castro, he could get a little tidier and a little higher on that first outside zone. That still eludes Vaughn get junior, as I just mentioned. Here we go. JTP initiates into that bank. You can see Castro get in proximity, gets tighter to him, and there you go. JTP, look how high and long he is up on that bank, making it difficult for Castro, but then he lunges back forward into that second outside zone. You can see Pawlak getting all the way out to the outside zone, both of them on that front clip. Now see how they handle this last. Oh, there's the JTP flick that we know and love. It looks like he does get it dialed. Sometimes it ends up biting him, but it seemed like precision driving right there for JTP. Well, I think both drivers definitely made some improvements. Justin, in particular, on his lead run. Remember, Ryan Lontaine said he was really bothered by the fact that he angled up at inside clip number 1 and slowed down. Now this time he's nice and high in the bank, nearly rubbing it. Big angle coming off the bank, but keeping momentum. And you can see that Castro drops down. Now this time Pawlak is accelerating through inside clip number 1. The flow there from inside clip 1 to outside zone 2 was much better from him. Now he's not completely deep in that zone, and Castro is able to take advantage of that by gaining proximity and hitting inside clip number 2. Now on the transition here, coming into inside clip number 2, you'll see both drivers are pretty close together here. It's going to be that JTP flick back around that you talked about, and he catches it perfectly. Notice he's still on throttle. The wheels are spinning at a high rate,
and he gets right to the edge of the line there. Now, great job by Castro to stay in the pocket as well, and that's why I say that both drivers did make some improvements.
Yeah, totally agree. And we've seen, again, we were talking about that flick where it looks more violent and it gets disrupted. That flick that I know Justin loves to do, but that was probably one of the cleanest and most uninterrupted, actually, transitions that he likes to do so aggressively.
Yeah, sometimes it can go awry like in Seattle, right?
Yeah, exactly. Here we go. Jonathan Castro will lead JTP. Justin Pawlak, give it to, oh, no. Oh, maybe Pawlak's, oh, look at this. Might be strategy here. Give himself some room. Don't know if it's going to pay off. We see him gaining some ground now. Castro high on the bank. Talking about those improvements. Here we go. The Jardot Methodom. 86. And there it is. Oh, get to the wall. Taps it. He taps it. He backs it in. The backup sensors were beeping full torque there. Now come that last outside zone. Oh, and Pawlak goes off course, Ryan. Cones were hit by Pawlak. And unfortunately, that flick, Ryan, where he got the clean air, it worked out for him. But let's take a look at it again. Was Castro at fault? Did Justin make a mistake under his own accord?
Well, remember, you started off your run call saying, what's Justin doing? Is he playing strategy here? And once he got into it, though, look at, he has lower angle and he's on a way weaker line. And then right there, he almost straightens out. Now, Castro's got a full plume of smoke, so he's driving pretty quick here. He's decelling in the right areas. He made a little bit of an adjustment there on outside zone 2, but outside of that, he's looking pretty solid. Now, this is where we're going to get into a situation of consequence. Right there is a decel zone. Pawlak is coming up and goes off course. Now, at first pass, it just does look like that Pawlak was coming up a bit too aggressively, but let's take a look at the drone. And that decel zone is right there before outside zone number 3. So we do expect Castro to make an adjustment there. And remember, Jared, we were talking about, he nearly went into the wall there as well.
Yeah, he tapped and stayed in it, though.
Right here, right there is where we expect the decel to happen. Now, that's from telemetry data that we've taken from the vehicle. So I think, at least at first pass, Justin just made a mistake.
I mean, even at third pass, it does look like that. And just, again, that the truth, the lie detector test, if I may. So slide him left for Pawlak or right for Castro. And there we go. Chris Yule says Castro, as does Lantain. And Brian Eggert says it is Jonathan Castro getting the win. Lantain, going over to you. Really good job. I think both the drivers progressed on their one more time battle. Liked it up front, but it didn't pay off for him in that second run. Let's get you turned on there, bud. All right. And I don't know. Are you there yet? Knock knock.
How about now?
Knock knock. Lantain's there.
I just want to point out that JTP still had to pull the handbrake at inside clip 1. It was smaller and he didn't slow down, but still, we said don't pull the handbrake there. Don't left foot brake. Don't slow down. Don't lift off throttle. And he still had to pull the handbrake a little bit, just a little bit. So either his spotter's not telling him not to do it after listening to us, or he just feels that he has to pull it there. But it didn't matter because he ended up going off course and spinning there in the chase position, giving Castro the win.
Thank you. All right, let's move right along. Taylor Hall, Rome Charpentier in that Garagistic E36. And, of course, Taylor Hall, Comp Cams, Cadillac ATS-V. All right, let's see what we got here. Both drivers have been progressing over the years, and from Rome jumping into the Pro Championship this year. Keeping a little PMA, a little positive mental attitude there from Rome. And Taylor Hull living up to the Intimidator. The livery, the gargoyles, the hat, here we go. Taylor Hull initiates into the bank. Let's see how we go. Rome handling it a little lower on the bank, but you can see Taylor full pull Hull coming all the way through. Let's see how we handle that front clip. Quick little snap and cross through into that second outside zone. Diving deep are those Cadillac taillights. Past that front clip and now into that final outside zone. Remember, that white line is definitely disappearing. Just don't hit the cones. Don't hit the candlestick cones. Just keep it where the rubber meets the road and don't hit any orange.
We've seen a lot of incredible driving this year, especially in a compressed schedule. And one of those standout drivers for me has been Taylor Hall. He just looked like he stepped up a couple levels this year, and it's been consistent. That's the thing. It hasn't been a one-off. Now, he gets a good jump here against Rome, and you can see that separation coming off of the bank into inside clip number 1. We saw a little bit of reduction in angle there from Rome Charpentier. You can see the consistency from Taylor. Good transition back around. Now, Rome dives in here. I give him credit for taking that aggressive approach, trying to gain some proximity. You can see he had to make a little bit of a adjustment. And this final exchange here one more time. See Rome right here losing that angle coming up on the inner bank. He's not really able to get as deep as Taylor Hull is in that second outside zone, which is a really important section to time appropriately. But he does come back, try to dive in here to gain proximity. But he's obviously going to get a report now from his spotter to say, hey, this is what you need to do in your lead run to better Taylor Hull.
Yep. All right, so Rome will now lead. Taylor Hull will give chase. Second run of this battle. Yeah, Ryan, I definitely concur as far as Taylor Hull's progression over the years. Just seeing that vehicle from 3 years to where it's at now, definitely leaps and bounds. All right, looks like Taylor kicks back for just a moment, and Rome fires him up. Initiates into that big bank. Taylor Hull working it high. Keeping a safe distance here, but would like to see him a little bit closer past that first front clip into the second outside zone in that inside bank. Now Rome digging deep, second front clip, and Taylor Hull overshoots it quite a bit, giving Rome a bit of an advantage here. Now shallows him up on that last outside zone, Ryan.
Yeah, a little bit of a mistake there from Taylor. He kept the pressure on in a pretty strong way up until that point. Let's see how the rest of the run kind of came together for these two competitors with Rome out front. Nice early initiation for him. Mid to high line on the bank. Now he starts working his way up. You can see Taylor smartly gets right next to him, tries to stay on that same line. Rome is doing a great job out front here. He's keeping the throttle on through inside clip 1, and at least the momentum. And Taylor's on a little bit of a lower line here in the chase position. But once he makes those mistakes, he quickly adjusts and then gets back on the line here. But Rome is giving a really great lead run here for the judges to take a look at. And this is where Taylor goes a little bit wide, pushing from inside clip number 2. Final section here. You can see that where he got position from inside clip 2, put him on a tighter line, and he's left playing catch up there against Rome.
Yeah, that really threw him off around that front clip. And you could see he totally missed all of that last outside zone. Getting the drone's eye view. You can see Larry Chen over there. Larry shooting some photos. All right, looks like we're going to get a little side-by-side instant replay here. Rome and Taylor. And let's take a look at here again. Taylor leading on the left, Rome leading on the right.
You can see Rome keeps that pressure on early in the chase position. Taylor gave him a good lead run. So these lead runs right here, at least, they look pretty similar up until this point. Rome gets pretty deep into outside zone 2, so does Taylor. Now Taylor has that little bit of an adjustment that pushes him wide, and that's where we see some difference. Now Rome was on a tighter line. He did gain proximity there, but he lost a little bit of angle. So, you know, a good back and forth battle here between both guys, and really interested to see how the judges are going to go on this one.
All right, let's see if we got a verdict here. Waiting for the judges. See if they go one more time. Do you think we have a winner here, Ryan? Or do you think we're going to go one more time?
What do they think?
Yeah, what do the fans think at home? AEM. Oh, the fans are saying one more time. Look at that. All right, slide of left for Taylor Hull, right for Rome. Let's see what we got.
Can I work at home and get on the AEM drift zone?
Yo, I'm down. I'm with it. Here we go. Slide him left for Taylor, right for Rome. One more time there from Chris Ewell. And then, oh, there it is, one more time. So you guys at the AM virtual zone dropping in and calling it like you see him at OMT, using some vinyl. So he went from a right-hand drive to JS15 now to a left-hand drive. And he says he's feeling really comfortable in it. Loretta asked him, how do you get better? He says, practice, question mark. You know, so here's Adam LZ, his spy run. Take a listen. Looks like he's having a good time. He's definitely getting sideways, working that outside zone, looking very comfortable. But, you know, when push comes to shove, Adam LZ will be going against, get this, so Adam LZ advances in 16. Guess who he goes against in 16? Either Odie or Dan Burkett. So Odie versus Odie. Yo, dog, I heard you like Odie. That's why I put Odie in your Odie.
I mean, it's worth saying, and here's Odie right here on the line now, but when we've seen two drivers have to go to backup vehicles, Adam definitely, I think, has the more competition-ready vehicle compared to Chris. I know that Chris's car looks a lot like his regular competition Z, but it is not built in the same way at all.
Yeah, it's more of a party car.
You could tell by the way Chris was expressing himself in his tone. He said, I have one hand tied behind my back. And you know, that's a tough position to be in, to lose a motor, not have the backup that you need, and then really this to be your only choice for competition.
Well, there's Odie, and we just talked about it, and now he's going to throw a throwdown against Dan Burkett. And these guys have driven with each other at fun events such as like Adams and stuff like that. So here we are in the NOS Energy Drink Top 32. Here are the numbers. You can see both of them fairly equally matched. So about 1,000 horsepower from both of them. And of course, Rad Dan with his signature Toyota Supra. And Odie Bakchis now just progressing with that. Remember a few years ago, it was like, you know, the horsepower battle. Odie was kind of like laughing at it, you know, and then now here he is. Everybody on average about 900 horsepower.
Yeah, suspension engineering, tuning, all that kind of stuff, that he is a master at that, getting the most out of the vehicle.
Here we go, Odie Bakchis. Oh, look at this, what's going on? Oh, and now
restart?
Odie, is it a restart? Making sure that we got a clean start.
Let's cross our fingers. Hopefully he doesn't need his backup car.
That's what I'm saying. He's like, oh no. But once he turned wheels in this vehicle, he has to commit to this vehicle.
For this round, yeah.
For this round.
Yeah.
He could ask for the keys back for maybe round 8, but not, unfortunately for Odie, not a contender in the championship. If crazy things happen, and they usually do here at Irwindale, could maybe get a top 3, but just seeing, you know, you can only tell the future by looking at the past and seeing what the contenders, the top 5, top 6 drivers have done. I don't think that's going to be the case.
Yeah, one of the interesting things that I've noticed with this setup and not having qualifying is that you will get matchups that you sometimes don't always see in a traditional qualifying type setup, because usually where qualifying is a merit-based system, and usually, you know, what you want to have is the best 2 guys at that event in the finals. And in this kind of scenario, you have some randomness built in there, so you will see times where Odie is going to go up against Vaughn Ginn Jr. in the top 16, and you know, you're going to have somebody that's fighting for the championship go out in the top 16. We know to fight for a championship, you pretty much got to have grade 8s or better throughout the season, and that's a really, really difficult thing to do.
And again, we've seen, you know, Forsberg with his championship, what is that, 5 years ago or so, when he won he won the championship without ever winning an event. So it is doable, but you definitely need to show up consistently. Here we go, Rad Dan initiating. So Odie Bakchis really having some struggling moments. Oh, and Rad Dan, look at that, scraping that signature Supra wing. Let's go past that front clip. Neither of them slowing down. Rad Dan throws it back in. Now, Dan's got that clean air, and Odie, definitely a phenomenal chase driver, but unfortunately, we got some more fire there, back right there of Dan Burkett. You can see it, look at this. Woo, little flambe Supra action. Oh, man. And is he still on? Got some tire fire, one-wheeler peeler here. Let's spray that thing out. As you can see, Rad Dan Burkett looks like we're going to
see in year 1 is a goal within itself. For him to be fighting for a championship, that's a whole other level.
Here we go, the Rockstar Energy Toyota GR Supra, high on the bank. Robbins keeps some distance. Robbins gets into the wall, but he keeps it off of it. Almost got eaten up by the big Irwindale monster. Now throwing it into that second outside. So look at Robbins jump up, slams into the wall. I told you, Robbins is hungry. You got to think taking that weekend off, but he overshoots it. He's going against one of the best in the biz. 3-wheel motion there from Aasbo, gets all the way out, does not hit the cones, but powers through. Look at that horsepower that Robbins has on deck. You saw him just jump up in that second outside zone.
Yeah, pushing really hard here, and it's worth noting that, you know, COVID basically ruined Robbins' chances at Rookie of the Year, and he was definitely in the mix for that. So he's fighting hard here against Frederick Aasbo, who's starting off with a great lead run. We see Aasbo lay down these incredible lead runs the first time around. Robbins almost goes into the wall, makes an adjustment with the front wheels there. Aasbo coming into inside clip number 2. Beautiful there as Robbins shoots a little bit wide. And you can see that aggressive driving is paying off for him in certain places, but in others, it's causing quite a difference as you look at the comparison to where Aasbo is on the course compared to Robbins. Here it is from above. You can see both drivers coming off. Nice transition there to inside clip 1, but Aasbo really looking strong, coming off the bank in the right place to hit this inside clip. And Robbins with his aggressive driving, looking for opportunities to take position and try to gain proximity, but just not able to close the door on that very quick and fast Supra of Frederick Aasbo.
Yeah. I mean, you can see the intake manifold supercharged, you know, the Facetto 350Z there of Robbins. And Robbins has been banging away in Pro-Ams and then Pro 2, and then here he is in Pro. Definitely, I'm looking forward to seeing what he's got here against Aasbo. He's going to get clean air. Let's see if Freddie can show up. And there's the back end of Dan Burkett's vehicle, that back right. That's the one that caught fire. Hopefully everything's okay. And away they go. Robbins out front. You saw how much power he's got. Aasbo turning it up into the big Irwindale bank. Look at the angle there from Robbins. Takes a little bit out of it. Some wavering there. But Aasbo keeps the composure past that front clip. Both of them still on throttle into that second outside zone. Looks like Robbins goes towards that outside wall. Aasbo keeping it consistent. Nothing too aggressive here. It doesn't seem like he's sinking his claws into him, but just keeping it. Again, with these guys having, you know, with Robbins being a rookie and Aasbo being just a veteran of the sport and a former champion, got to take some calculated risks, I think is the term.
Yeah, Aasbo had the proximity and had the duration, which is definitely something that you want to see. It's not that he didn't make some mistakes either. You can see Robbins had a little bit of adjustment in angle there. Watches Aasbo in the chase position come through the smoke line, trying to eye up this opportunity where he can keep the pressure on Robbins coming through inside clip number 1. Aasbo takes the line that Robbins has. He follows him here. But look, he's going to be down a little bit there. Loses a little bit of angle. Has a slight little adjustment there where he almost loses too much angle. And you don't want to see that in that section of the course. And then Robbins goes off course there by about 2 wheels as we take one more look at it. Here it is from inside clip 1. This is where Aasbo gets a little hung up there. You can see he loses some angle. But the proximity and the duration of it, I think, was better overall than Robbins. It's just going to be a matter of these mistakes that the judges are going to be weighing against each other. As you can see, that smoke line building up there with Alec Robbins in the lead.
All right, there you can see the supercharger spinning round as Robbins would love to take down this former champ. Isn't enough. Yep. All right, and here it is. Aasbo and Robbins. Slide him left for Aasbo, right for Robbins. And there it is. Frederick Aasbo gets the win. Aasbo will advance on into the top 16. Got Aasbo versus, we'll find out in just a moment. Here we go. Taylor Hull out front. Rome in the chase position. Taylor initiates. Look at Rome. A lot of speed being carried into the side, but you can see him some wavering. Now coming down, let's see how they handle that front clip, see if they learn something off of their first battle. Quickly getting to that second outside zone is Taylor Hull. Big angle from Hull. Look at that, barely see the back end of that Cadillac. Now Rome and that BMW taking a shallower line. You saw Ryan, that transition, you saw him. I didn't know if he was going to actually get all the way out there. That looked something similar that we saw earlier.
Yeah, Taylor did it about as good as you can do in the lead roll position there. He was nice and high on the big bank, didn't have too many major mistakes and very few minor ones. Now you can see Rome charges up forward really quickly. He catches himself, has to pull a little bit of angle out of the car. Look at how high Taylor leaves the bank while staying on throttle through inside clip 1. Now that's the kind of transition I think the judges really want to see. Quick through inside clip 1, then set up through the decel zone, get into outside zone 2. Taylor Hull does just that. Rome keeping the pressure on here, but again, he comes up on that inside line, tries to gain proximity here. He's able to pull back for a second and get closer to the line that Taylor was on. But in the chase position, making a couple little mistakes. So he's got to come back strong here in his lead run, use the advice from his spotter to try and better the lead run that Taylor Hull had, which is going to be a tall order. Taylor did a great job here, but Taylor also has a job of his own in the chase, and that's to keep the pressure on.
And here we go, the second half of this battle, run 2 of the one more time battle of Rome and Taylor. And Rome Watching his social media there, showing the transition. Let's see how he handles it now. When it really counts. Good angle from Rome. Taylor, look at that. Getting really close is Taylor Hull. Good transition from both the drivers. Again, you got that small decel zone into that outside second zone. Now approaching that front clip. Tight and right, about the second hash mark. Now again, flirting with the edge of the course. They say they can go beyond that line a little bit because it's disappearing. Just don't hit the candlesticks.
Well, second half of the battle is over now with Rome in the lead. Let's take a look and see how both drivers did here and whether or not it's going to be Rome or Taylor moving on into the top 16. Hull doing a good job getting close on the big bank. Now, this is going to be really viewed well in the eyes of the judges. Kept the pressure on with proximity on the big bank, backed off for a second to inside clip 1, and then puts the pressure back on again. Now, this is being allowed because Rome is also putting down a solid lead run. And this back and forth battle here, who was the more consistent of these two drivers in the lead and the chase position? Was it Taylor Hull or was it Rome Charpentier? Here's another shot of it on the second bank coming into inside clip number 2. You can see Rome going a little bit wide there, Jared. And then in the chase position, Taylor cutting it a little bit tight.
Oh boy, this is flirting. This is flirting with an advancement or one more time. I mean, this is a tough one. Again, two very, I thought it was going to be equally matched, and they definitely delivered. Here we go, slide him left for Taylor Hull, right for Rome, and Chris says Taylor Hull, as does Ryan Lontaine, and it looks like Taylor Hull unanimously.
Different, you know, I mean, we're very grateful that we didn't get into any rain because that can happen obviously this time of the year.
You shut your mouth. You shut your mouth, Ryan. Don't even say that word.
Yeah, well, you know, every time I say something can't happen, it happens. So
exactly. All right, well, again, this is Forsberg. It might look like his comp car. It was intended to be that way. This is his party car. He's driven at Grid Life. He's driven at just at a lot of different events, but this is not his competition car. If you're just tuning in, Chris the Force Forsberg, who is in contention for the championship, sitting in 3rd place, coming to this round, has popped his VR-powered 370Z, the GTR engine vehicle. He crossed the finish line. He's got a bye, moves in a 16, but before we move on to our next battle, let's throw it down to you. Lorette, what's up? Jet Spray and Regain Parts Cleaner do Gracer work for the best any job in the shop. Got that 75th anniversary gum out livery on the left. All right, the FCP Euro Achilles tire BMW. Michael Essa, Dylan Hughes throwing it almost to the side. Put the Rain-X two-face livery on the side of the FCP Euro BMW. Oh, and look at that. Dylan falls back. A little bit of issues right now. Looked aggressive, but now, unfortunately, Gremlin's showing their head. And now coming into that final outside zone. There goes Essa, right in that line, not hitting the cones. And wow, Dylan Hughes just staying out of that smoke trail.
yeah, Hughes having that really tough situation in Texas where he didn't get off the line and forced an incomplete. Wants to come back strong here at Irwindale. And look at that, keeping the pressure on Michael Essa. Great job there, but as they leave the first outside zone coming into the inside clip, you can see that Dylan's going to back off here for a second, look for this opportunity to attack. Goes a little bit wide on the inside clip and then really loses the positioning on the course relative to Michael Essa. Now, it looked like, at least from what I saw from that angle, Essa was carrying decent momentum from inside clip to outside zone number 2. Now Hughes is left playing catch up. He comes through the smoke line, tries to poke in here as Michael Essa rounds out this final turn, sweeping to the right and through the finish line.
All right, so right, like you said, Ryan, Dylan very aggressive. No wind here, so the smoke is definitely lingering here as Dylan Hughes will now lead at Gumout. Rain-X O'Reilly Auto Parts BMW will lead. And the FCP Euro Liqui Moly Achilles tire BMW of Michael Essa chasing him down. Let's see what Dylan's got here out front. Clean air is all his. Michael Essa jumps to the side, dropping down. Look at that. Michael Essa really low on the bank. Past that front clip, now into the second outside zone. Quick little pull of the handbrake there from Dylan Hughes. The dozer pushes his way through that front clip and now to that final out. Oh, and a cone was hit. So you got to imagine they're going to take that into account. He hit that last one hit across the finish line. But, you know, was it deep enough? I mean, even in the driver's meeting, they said, treat that like a wall. So you got to imagine, the deeper you are, the more damage you're going to do.
Well, this was an interesting start here because Michael Essa had an opportunity to kind of put a bit of a seal on it, and that really started kind of a downturn of events, right?
Yeah.
He had an opportunity there to kind of really put this one away because we did see a big mistake from Hughes in his chase position, but then Michael Essa makes a big one of his own on the second half of this battle. Now through this inside clip, Hughes looking pretty good in the lead here, gets on a midline and then pushes out wide to outside zone number 2. Essa's trying to close the door, stay close in proximity here to Dylan Hughes as he comes through the smoke line. Hughes, meanwhile, pushes a little bit too hard, just taps the beginning section of that final outside zone. But by that time, Essa is caught up and he's keeping the pressure on. So, Jared, both drivers making some mistakes in the chase position, and the judges will have to compare those two to see if there's a winner there or if it's a one more time because of the severity of the mistakes.
Well, Dylan would love to get one back after just let's just call it what it is, kind of a dismal Texas. So, like you said, just having that trans issue going off the line, and that was unfortunately, it was a run where he started the finish, or he started to go and then just shut it down. So that did count as a run, and that was a terrible turn of events for him and his team.
Yeah, and we actually talked about that in the drivers' meeting this morning. Is that a one more time?
Yeah, what do you guys think here? What do you guys think? Javier's saying one more time. Do you guys think we have a winner? I don't know. I'm seeing a lot of one more time. That's two more times. We're just. Oh, come on. Come on, guys.
Somebody needs a whiteboard.
I know. Get a whiteboard.
Somebody get a whiteboard.
Four more times. Okay, relax. All right, guys. Just, I mean, we got to find out. I got things to do. Somebody's playing Wii bowling, by the way. Here we go, side by side. Here we go. So again, Essa leading on the left, Dylan leading on the right.
And Dylan looks strong here in the chase on the big bank, and I think that's going to count for a lot. But watch in his chase run coming down on the big bank, or on the smaller bank. He does make that mistake, and you know, the judges are going to look at it comparatively. You know, did somebody have a better of the lead runs? Did somebody have the better of the chase runs? Was there a way to nudge the direction for Michael Essa or for Dylan Hughes? And it's a tough one here because those big mistakes sometimes, you know, play with you, and
Yep.
you know, you want to make sure that you're consistent with the criteria that you've laid out in the drivers' meeting. And so this will be a tough one for the judges.
All right. Well, our fans here in the AEM virtual fan zone tuning in. Again, AEM dry flow air filters, track proven. Check them out at aemintakes.com. We got it one more time from Chris Yule. Ryan Lantain says one more time. So they are going at it again. And oh, look at that. Eggert actually sided with Michael Essa, but majority rule. So OMT for these two BMWs. There we go. Somebody's getting creative. We got a pen and a piece of paper. Thank you so much. Is it Mia or Maya? Nissan, we got a V8 under the hoods. Here we go. Pretty fairly equally matched. Jones initiates. Both of them supercharged V8s. Nice job by Jones. Litteral about midline there on the big bank. Maybe going to save some for the proximity. Oh, an early transition. That power stop breaks. Nissan 350Z of Ryan Litteral. Jeff Jones continues on with that Doc 370Z. Oh, and Litteral spins out, unfortunately. If Jeff Jones keeps it going, and he does, that will be a major advantage for Mr. Jones.
Yeah, and that was actually the second large mistake I think we saw from Ryan Litteral. The first one was right after inside clip number 1. It looked like he straightened up for more than, you know, a beat or two, and we have definitely seen the judges call those incomplete. So let's take a look at it here, because it will be an incomplete either way for Ryan Litteral, and so that basically makes the lead run from Jeff Jones a bit inconsequential, other than that it's scored. See, right here, he loses angle and then straightens up and has to reinitiate. So whenever you have to reinitiate like that, the judges will typically call that an incomplete. But right here, as he's surging forward, looks like he just gets lost in the smoke line, loses the rear end, and is not able to pull it off. Now, at that point, Jared, you rightly pointed out, Jeff Jones does need to finish the run without making an incomplete of his own. He's able to do that, and so he'll be sitting on a pretty sizable advantage going into the second half of this battle.
Bummer for Litteral. Jones feeling the flow. He's going to now chase down Ryan Litteral, as looks like he lost his bumper, but no big deal for him. That power stop brakes. GT Radial, Nissan 350Z out front. Both these guys on GT Radial. Second half of this battle. The winner of this going against Kazuya Taguchi in top 16. You're joining us here at top. Oh, got a restart here. The Type S title fight. There's Ryan Tuerck, second in points, only 8 points behind Vaughn Gittin Jr. getting prepared behind the wheel of that Gumout Toyota Racing Toyota Corolla hatchback. As Ryan Tuerck is the second to last battle. He'll be going against Kyle Mohan, who re-entered competition in Texas, and there are the point standings. Let's go back to the action here. Second half of this battle, we had a restart there, and Ryan Litteral leaves the line. Jeff Jones chasing him down. Looks like we got a clean start point or no return. Litteral initiates. Look at, there's Jeff Jones. He's falling back quite a bit. Now Litteral keeps it high. Let's see, remember Ryan, you said there was that major correction there. I think the smoke really messed up Litteral. Coming to that second outside zone. Litteral quite a bit deeper. Oh! Almost contact, but Litteral saves it. And it looks like that's going to be all she wrote. And in this instance, Ryan, Jeff Jones does not need to complete the rest of the course, only for just a little unfortunate insult to injury there for Ryan Litteral. Bummer for Litteral, but Jones is stoked. Yeah, I was starting to think that Jones was playing a bit of a dangerous game by giving that much of a gap, right, and being down low on the bank to Ryan Litteral. And, you know, there's a sports psychology kind of metaphor going on there where, you know, even though you have a huge advantage, for some reason you're like, don't mess up, don't mess up, don't mess up. Well, right here, Ryan Litteral pretty much solidified the battle in the W camp for Jeff Jones by spinning out on the lead. And as you pointed out, once the lead driver incompletes in the front or spins out or something like that, the run is over at that point, and the chase driver does not need to finish the run. So this will be an easy call here for the judges, going in favor of Jeff Jones. That's right. So Jones will continue on. Let's make it official. All right, before we move on to a lasting impression, coming through that second outside zone and then just fill that last outside zone in the chase job. I think that's what really needs to be done. Let's represent. Here we go. Michael Essa out front. Dylan Hughes, like I said, maybe kicking back here, give himself some room. You see Michael Essa some wavering there, but he keeps it very high. Dylan Hughes mid-range. Now past that front clip, stays out of the smoke. That smoke signal could really throw you off and blind you. So you can see Dylan Hughes taking that shallower line. Essa going all the way out there, showing you why he's a former champ. Transitioning now into that final outside zone. A lot of rubber being kicked off of both the vehicles and past that finish line, Ryan. So don't know if Dylan listened to my advice, but again, still decent, still some opportunity, but Michael Essa, man, he delivered out front. Solid run by Essa. Yeah, he really did, and that's the best time and opportunity for that chase driver to attack. Here's where Dylan kind of starts making his mistakes in the impression that you want to give to the judges. He was down a little bit lower, had a little bit less angle on the big bank. And outside of the inside clip here, you can see that as Dylan starts to transition here, you want to try to get in the pocket with this lead driver. He comes down a little bit lower and he lets Michael Essa fill that zone very deeply. So Essa's got two filled zones, the big bank and the second inside bank, that he pretty much did flawlessly. He pushes a little bit wide on inside clip. Dylan comes up tight, keeps the pressure on. So I think overall picture here is that solid lead run from Michael Essa. He stayed long and he was really deep into outside zone number one. We saw that Hughes had a bit more consistency in his chase this time, but still was not really maintaining the line that Michael Essa was drawing around the track. And that's going to be an area where if Essa can do better in that position, he could take the win here and move on into the top 16. Again, Dylan's livery there. It's half black, half white. This white with the polka dot celebrating 75 years of keeping engines clean all the way back to World War II. So it gives you any idea of the history that Gumout has. Here we go. Can he take out Michael Essa? Dylan Hughes needs to show up in grand fashion, but he knows he's got Essa in his rearview mirror. Dylan Hughes initiates that Rain X size, showing us. Oh, nice job by Dylan Hughes, really high. Essa barely giving enough room to pass the transition, past that front clip into the second outside zone. And there we go. So look at that, Essa even going slightly deeper into that second outside zone, past the front clip, both about that second hash mark. And Essa now jumps into formation. Ryan, that is a really, really good job. And I think Essa took my advice to heart.
Well, I think what he showed there was he was more of the attacking style type chase driver on that second run. And that may be the point of difference there. Dylan Hughes got super high on outside zone 1, rubs that bumper for a long period of time. Look, as soon as he initiates, he's already mid-high and then starts moving higher and higher and higher. Michael Essa playing a little bit of catch-up there. Dylan Hughes is right up against the wall. But from this point forward, Essa is right there. He's keeping the pressure on. He always seems like he's in the attack there. And when he backs off, it looks strategic because then he gets right back up in the pocket. Now remember, Dylan was down lower. Essa was able to stay online a lot better with Dylan as he's chasing him down and take advantage of those areas where it opens up for him, especially on that second inside clip. Then he gets back up in the pocket, and from this point forward, he's keeping it pretty much door to door.
Remember the winner going against Chris Forsberg in the top 16. Let's see what we got here, Essa or Hughes. Again, the bird's eye view. Slide him left for Essa, right for Dylan Hughes. And looks like Michael Essa gets the victory. Michael Essa unanimously gets the win and avoid Vaughn Gittin Jr., who's our current points leader.
Yeah, I know, that was crazy.
Right. Here we go, Matt Field in that Falcon Tires. Pedal Commander, Drift Cave Corvette. Yeah, massive jump there. Masuyama getting iced on the line. And it looks like he's going to continue on here. Matt Field past that front clip into the second outside zone. And Field continues on. Masuyama in that S15 Sylvia. Now Buy Now Japan, Sylvia overcooks it. Oh, man, I thought we were going to see some paint exchange. Wow.
Masuyama definitely seems like he dialed a bit more grip into his car, but as you said, Jared, he really didn't get a good jump off the line there, and he really gave Matt Field more room that you want to give a guy like Matt Field. He's won this event before, so he is very familiar with this track. Now you can see Masuyama was able to kind of peel it in a little bit, but Matt Field, as he gets through that first inside clip, is really making a good progression towards a solid lead run. You can see he gets right through the inside clip number 1, deep into outside zone number 2. Masuyama now starting to try and attack, but he was really playing catch up until this point, not really able to keep the pressure on. And so if you're Matt Field's spotter, and this is where he really pushed hard, had to angle up, then pull some angle out of it. If you're Matt Field's spotter, I think you're saying here, hey, you know what? Moderate amount of pressure on the lead driver. Don't take too much of a risk because it's going to require a solid lead run from Masuyama and just, I would say, an above average chase run from Matt Field to take the win here. He's got himself in a good position.
Yeah, no, I think he's got to be feeling a little quite confident here. You can see the Buy Now Japan S15 there, getting some rubber in the door. Now he's going to be out front. I believe this has got to be Masuyama's first time driving Irwindale, and for a lot of these drivers, it's, you know, going, and we were talking about earlier, Ryan, I know you're a big fan of surfing. It's like surfing, like Dagger said, surfing pipeline or surfing Jaws. It's intimidating.
Yeah, this is definitely pipe.
Here we go. All right, Masuyama going to lead. Matt Field giving chase. Let's see what we got. Masuyama initiates mid-bank here. Whoa, buddy, gets in that wall, changes the attitude, and literally the back end of that S15 Sylvia pulling away from Matt Field. But Masuyama risking it for the biscuit, and Field slides to the side of him. But I got to think here, if Matt keeps it within the line, doesn't hit any cones, I believe he's going to get the win, unfortunately. Liked where Masuyama was going. I mean, I didn't like him going into the wall, but obviously he knew he needed to throw down. I
was thinking the same thing. I was like, I really like the aggressive approach, especially on the big bank. It's high consequence, high risk. And you can definitely tell the car has been getting more dialed in with grip, because to be able to hang with Matt Field is one thing, but right there you can see he taps the wall, pulls a little bit of angle out of it. And for Matt Field, I think it puts it in perspective overall, because Field was a little bit lower on the bank as he was trying to attack, and you don't want to have that. But Masuyama did make some pretty sizable mistakes in his chase run, and so I think comparatively speaking, as Matt Field had a solid lead run, that mistake by Masuyama will cost him in looking at the lead-to-lead and the chase-to-chase comparison.
All right. Believe we're going to have a... And there we are from the bird's eye view.
See, we see a lot of drivers do that. They dive in and kind of fall down a little bit. But once Masuyama makes that mistake, you know, Field's keeping an eye on him, giving him a little bit of distance, but still enough where he can surge like that, move forward, close it down on inside clip number 1. And then this is where we saw Masuyama make his mistake in the chase. Matt does not replicate that. He stays pretty much on the line, and you see a beautiful shot as he just comes up a little bit tighter there. And will that be enough to convince the judges that Matt Field moves on?
All right, slide him left for Field, right for Masuyama, beating the beat as, yes, Matt Field, go ahead and get in the cockpit of Ryan Tuerck and his Toyota Corolla. Talking about bumper overhang in the driver's meeting. Ryan Tuerck barely has any, but look at that. Goes and throws it into the big bank. Good angle from him. Kyle Mohan keeps it mid-line now, past that point of no return and past that front clip. In the second outside zone, Ryan Tuerck made quick work of it. Massive angle there from Ryan Tuerck. Little corrections here and there from those rotoform wheels wrapped in the Nitto tires. Whoa, buddy. Oh, he goes for that cone, takes it out. So he does on that transition, overshoots it. So that would be considered off course, but I don't think a ton. You know what I mean? Again, if he did tap that, if that was a wall, I think he would have tapped it, maybe knocked off a bumper.
Well, let's take a look as Kyle Mohan aggressively gets a start against Ryan Tuerck. Coming up, trying to keep the pressure on, but Tuerck was nice and high on the bank, stayed with that line, then really pulled a gap through inside clip number 1. Got right there in position as he left foot brake into outside zone number 2. Mohan starting to surge forward, coming through that smoke line, but then Tuerck back on the accelerator, blast into the final outside zone, and a big plume of smoke there as both drivers cross the finish line as Ryan Tuerck maxes out the angle, and there goes Kyle Mohan as well.
All right, let's see Kyle Mohan, the menace. He will be leading. Kyle the Menace Mohan. Ryan Tuerck will be given chase. Let's see what this American Ethanol Mazda Trix RX-8 can do out front. And Ryan Tuerck, again, currently second in points. Let's see what Tuerck's got. Chasing down Kyle Mohan. All right, coming into the bank. Mohan initiates. Keeping it mid to high on the big bank. Handling the front clip is Ryan Tuerck. Now in that second outside zone. Nice job by Kyle Mohan. Massive angle there from Mohan. Putting it down around that front clip. Hangs out there quite a bit, Ryan. And there, oh, you can see him, oh boy, collecting them all. And Ryan Tuerck got to the side of him. So it was a good run for Mohan out front. Really good angle, but like I said, he hung it out long on that second front clip, and it threw him offline. Yeah, Ryan Tuerck should not be looking past Kyle Mohan. You've got to have championship mentality throughout this entire weekend. And Mohan, as you said, got a good start on his lead run. You can see that Tuerck was down lower a little bit further on that big bank. Mohan gets into outside zone 2 with good angle, and now Tuerck starts surging forward. He backs off for a second as Mohan hits that inside clip. Tuerck is right in the smoke line as he transitions and moves. But then right here you can see that Kyle does go off course, and those course markers there indicating the point of the course that the judges do not want you to go past, and he took out a couple there. So let's go to their scorecards and see who moves on. All right, Ryan Tuerck says, how do I keep my composure? I think about my family, my brothers, my dad, and my wife. So there you go, Ryan Tuerck, and of course his mom, there you go. So not having driven Irwindale prior to this round, but he's back in his old faithful. He's back in his old gray maybe, as opposed to old red. Naren pulling away from Reeder. Naren throwing it down, more angle, taps the bumper, straightens out, and now eats the wall. And Naren will have a major deficit there. We'll see if he calls an NGK spark plugs timeout, competition timeout that is. Yeah, not what you want to have happen in your lead run there. So that's a tough break, and an opportunity here for Reeder, who's had a really good season in terms of the driving, but maybe not getting the results that he's wanted. He's had some really tough battles against some top competitors. And here's an opportunity for him to break into the top 30, excuse me, the top 16. Let's take a look at it again.
As he starts, you could see he was pulling some angle out of the car, and as soon as that back bumper goes up, see all of the tire particulate, Jared.
I know you love that word.
That starts popping up, and that will accumulate just even in this session, even though that we did sweep and vacuum the entire vehicle, the entire track prior to competition and after practice. So much of these tires are shredding and move up against that wall. It's a very dangerous place to be. You've got to be super careful.
All right, are we getting a competition timeout? And we are. So Naren is calling a competition timeout. So it's a great time to educate you. In addition to providing spark plugs for domestic and import vehicles, NGK produces spark plugs for motorcycle, power sports, marine, and outdoor power equipment. NGK also offers complimentary ignition product lines, including ignition coils, resistor caps, spark plug wires, and high-performance cables. For reliable performance, trust NGK, the ignition specialist. Visit ngksparkplugs.com to learn how NGK is redefining the category with high ignitability technology through its ruthenium HX spark plugs. You can see Naren there in the hot pit area, our actual pit area just outside of Irwindale Speedway. Naren jumps out, checks it out, seeing what's going on here on the right side. So the NGK competition timeout. Clock starts, I believe now. Yeah, I can see the clock in the... all right, let's throw it down to Lorette. Lorette, what's up?
Hey, I'm with Steph Papadakis, and as you can see, Ryan Tuerck's car is being towed off of the track. What's going on?
We've turned everything up for this weekend because it's Irwindale, you know? Car got really hot after the last run. It ran well. He obviously got his win. So we're going to go back to the trailer now and analyze it. But when it's that hot, it could be a cooling system issue, could be an engine problem. Either way, we've got parts here and a couple of hours, so we're going to go work on it now and fix whatever it is.
Okay, Steph, thank you so much. And if you wouldn't mind, describe this season and how it's been for you guys.
Oh, man. I think the season has been a blessing in contrast with everything. You know, in April, we were concerned that we wouldn't do any events this year. And already being at the 7th round today of 8, I think we're definitely fortunate for us to have some competition. So, you know, we got the new Supra, we got Ryan in the Corolla. Ryan is second in the championship, could potentially win this weekend, and we're doing whatever we can. We're doing everything we can to try to win this weekend and win the championship.
That's awesome. Best of luck. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Lorette. And yeah, Stefan, I think his mind is a couple different places between, you know, Freddie and his vehicle, obviously Tuerck, where he's at, you know, what's going on. And as we follow Ryan Tuerck back to the pits and that Papadakis Racing camp. When we come back, we'll continue with the second half of the Naren and Reeder battle. Naren goes in the wall. You fought the wall, and the wall won. When we come back, we will see our final battle.
As always, next rounds of the doubleheader weekend. See you guys Sunday. We're gonna have this thing back rocking and rolling. ISR Performance S14 is gonna be a different story in top 32 next round.
Jonathan, thank you so much. Jared, Ryan.
Kind of gave you a little bit of props right there, kind of, in a weird kind of way.
Yeah, no, it was good. It's all good, man. Every dog's got their day, right?
Truth be told.
Yeah, truth be told. Yeah, to be quite honest, that's what's up, Naren. Thank you so much. All right, so here we go. Travis Reeder, Old Red. This is his bye run. I like what Naren said. Tomorrow, on Sunday, top 32, it's going to be a different story, baby. Here we go. Let's listen to Old Red purring down the lane in the GT Radial S13.
Nah, Old Red doesn't want it. Old Red doesn't want to give the virtual room anything to cheer for here.
Yeah, the boys in the AEM virtual room said turn up the noise on that exhaust note, but Reeder, he's Travis Reeder, the Walmart greeter, is chilling and cruising around. So, looks like that will be a wrap here on top 32. Reeder will be going against Ryan Tuerck. So that's going to be a tough battle, Ryan. We'll take a look at the bracket here in just a moment, but notably Vaughn Gittin Jr., Ryan Tuerck are in it. Talking about top 16. We will have a short break and we will be back. Myself, Jared Diendo, Ryan